Greetings and salutations. Welcome to another episode of 365 Days of Gaming. I appreciate you taking out time to check out this video. Comment, share, like, and subscribe. Greatly appreciated in advance. But let's get into it. So we've done a bunch of TMNT games, a handful or so, and none of them have been on the Genesis. And I don't want you to think that we're not going to talk about a Genesis TMNT. We're not talking about tournament fighters. We're talking about Hyperstone Heists, which was like the alternative to Turtles in Time back in the day. Now, if I had to describe Hyperstone Heists in comparison to Turtles in Time, I would look at it like a Sega Genesis version of Project Manhattan. Or the Manhattan Project. I forgot how it's called, but I don't care because I don't really like that one. That's right, Steven. I don't like that version. But there's some neat features and different things about this version, which is basically like the Genesis version of Turtles in Time, except for they're talking about the Hyperstones and Shredder's trying to make stuff small. I'm not sure what his overall goal is other than to shrink everything, but he's talking about he's got the Hyperstones and, that's all we need to get out there and kick some shells. So that's what you're doing. It's a turtle beat 'em up. Now, one of the cool things that you get to do on this version is you can change the colors of the turtles from the cartoon version to the comic book version to where, they're eachly distinguishable colors of green versus everybody being green, the same color of green with different headbands. So I thought that was neat. So I wanted to check that out, how they did Donatello. I don't like the doo-doo green version of Donatello they got for the comic book, but that's okay. We got to do what we got to do, but it's still cool. But it's pretty much everything you know and love. Now, one thing else that it has that I wish that the SNES version had is it has a dash button, and it allows you to not only dash, but you can do different moves. So if you just do the dash and then attack, you'll do a shoulder charge. But if you do dash, jump, and then attack, you'll do like this front flip slide, which is pretty cool as far as, moving around the area. You can kind of traverse the area a little bit better. Always a big fan of beat 'em ups that allow you to dash. Another thing that doesn't often get talked about is the fact that in Turtles in Time, you don't go against Bebop and Rocksteady. You go against Tokar and Razor. But in Hyperstone Heists, you do actually fight against them. I thought that was pretty cool because, as much as I love The Secret of the Ooze, which is like my favorite TMNT movie, especially with the fact that they got Kino on there, they don't have Bebop and Rocksteady. And we didn't get to see a movie version of Bebop and Rocksteady until like 2012 or something like that, 2014, whatever the second Michael Bay movie was. I think it was the second one where Seamus was one of them. But other than that, it's like they're not featured in the Turtles in Time game, and then a lot of the other games like the tournament fighters and stuff, they don't include them. And I always, as a kid, I was always like, why not? Like they're really cool. I understand, there are much more interesting villains that you can put in, and they're pretty much just lackeys for the most part. But they are a representation of the series that we grew up and enjoyed. So I always thought it was weird when they weren't included in as much stuff as the Turtles were. Like the first arcade game, they're in there, and then you get to the Turtles in Time, and no more Bebop, no more Rocksteady. Like they just weren't good enough. But I appreciate we getting to fight things like Leatherhead and all that stuff. That lets you, like I said, it's got some similar stuff to Turtles in Time. You can tell that they were trying to make something that was comparable to that game, and I get it. Maybe license agreements, things like that, they couldn't do it. So, this game, it's good. Like there's no shortcuts around it. Just like the SNES version of Turtles in Time, it's only 2 players, and that's fine. That works. And I just remember going through this. My cousin Lamont had this for the Sega Genesis. My cousin Lamont had a lot of the Sega games that I end up not realizing were that good until later on. He was definitely ahead of the curve in certain aspects when it came to game selections. And I remember being like, oh, well, we got this game. We might not have a SNES and we might not have Turtles in Time, but this is definitely getting the job done. And it could be very tough. I know it seems like I'm just running through it in the footage, but it's just the fact that I played this game an awful lot. And a lot of people didn't know about this one because, again, everybody knows Turtles in Time. Nobody knows the fact that the Genesis had its own, beat 'em up that was definitely comparable. Visually, gameplay wise, everything you want from a Turtles game, this is it. It's just on the Genesis. So it's often overlooked. And I wanted to make sure if we're going to talk about the best beat 'em ups and the best Ninja Turtle games, that we had to include this one, because this one definitely makes the cut. But essentially, you go through, I want to say 7 levels of turtle action. And of course, at the end, you fight Shredder. And I will say this, just like every other version of TMNT, as far as the beat 'em up games, he is ridiculously hard, and he has that little beam that turns you into a little turtle that instantly kills you. So good luck with that. But I definitely enjoyed this game. I invite you to do so if you have a chance to check it out. You know, they got that thing called a Cowabunga collection coming soon. So, you know, you definitely will have the opportunity to play this version. And hopefully this one is online. It might not be. And if not, that's fine. But, you know, even just couch co-op, this is a fantastic game. You know, this, if you like Turtles, you like Turtles in Time, you like the arcade games, this is just a Genesis port of those games with different background and stuff like that. And, you know, legally different from Turtles in Time, but very much similar. So if you've played this, let me know what your thoughts was in comparison to Turtles in Time. I still think Turtles in Time is just better because of the likeness of the arcade version, and also certain things that this version didn't have. Like, you don't have the Big Apple 3 a.m. type of stuff. So there's some small quality of life things that I like Turtles in Time more, but this is definitely a solid game. But yeah, I'd like to hear your thoughts on it. And as always, I appreciate you watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. And